Jack Harlow, we were talking about music last week, and one of his songs, it's called Keep It Light. It's we played it before. It's a cool song because it's a song about maintaining relationships when he's successful. And he talks about how when he meets up with his friends, they always talk about him and say, they look at my life and say, that's amazing. And he says thank you like 20 times. But then he goes to talk in conversation. They try and reminisce on funny times, and he tries to keep it light so they can have a little shine. And he goes on to talk about once people lose touch with you, they start to hate you, start to show you your true nature, start to be the ones in the comments talking about you like you a stranger. Are people getting better? Are celebrities becoming more self-aware? Are they getting better at realizing, or better at handling their friends, the people that love them, their fans?
I think a lot of celebrities who get big these days have got to do a lot more of the probably legwork themselves through like putting their own stuff out on Spotify, YouTube, all that kind of thing. Not necessarily going through like the standard industry thing, like go to LA, get a record deal.
Go with Sony.
Yeah, get with someone that they promote you. So by promoting yourself, you're constantly interacting with the fans like you would on YouTube. You're seeing who's liking it, you're responding to comments, you're more interacting with the fans day in, day out than just going and becoming these superstars overnight, so to speak. So I reckon that probably helps them stay like connected to the fans.
Yeah, but also when you've got $40 million because you're the biggest artist out there and you've never had more than $1,000 in your bank account at any one time because you grew up broke, there's a whole world of different people who've just come into your life and they don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
And so they just completely cut all their old friends off. There's plenty of people in the hip-hop world who suffer from that massive influx of new people and they just freeze. They don't know what to do. Family gets left behind, friends get left behind.
I can imagine be tough because you want to incorporate, when you've just made it coming from nothing, you want to incorporate all the people that are trying to come into your life, but a lot of them could be just liars or frauds or tricksters, but a lot of them are smarter people as well. So navigating them, but not leaving your friends and family behind who were with you when you had nothing, but are they asking for a handout? I don't know. That'd be tough navigating that. But then you've also got child stars as well. You've got a lot of child stars who were big when they were 15 and grew up 20, 25, 30. They've gone insane. They're off the rails.
Almost all of them will have a period where they are completely off the rails in rehab. All those Disney stars you hear about, how crazy they all end up going. Like, that is a different way to grow up. I feel like there's something to be said about being a certain age or having like done enough things and had enough life experience.
And then become rich.
Then becoming rich and famous because you know how to handle the rest of life like that. You're not just thrown in from, 10 years old. You're the best thing in the world. You never do anything wrong. Boom, you're this famous person. And all this pressure on you at the same time. How can that not create like a massive amount of anxiety in that kid? Like, because there's so much pressure, and then I'm the best. Like, how would you do that? I don't know how I would. I don't think any of us would be able to like grow up differently.
It'd be hard. It'd be so tough. And is that a result of like the Interscope or the Sony pushing you more than you were doing the legwork yourself? Because is that you not being ready for it?
Yeah, I think it's you not being ready for it because you don't know what normal life and normal growing up is like. You don't understand like the normal like anxieties of a teenager growing up, of just normally interacting with people. You're probably homeschooled. You're probably not interacting with people your age who aren't like in your same situation. Like, I think it's just a different way to grow up, not having fun probably.
But I feel like people are better at it now. There's so many people on TikTok, especially Addison Rae, the D'Amelio twins. There's so many people who are actually better at handling the fame. Is that the being better at legwork, or by doing the legwork yourself?
I think that's being in front of everyone and being scared shitless. Because, like I said very early on in the creation of the podcast, if you've got 3,000 people coming to your kitchen, you get real scared watching that. Whereas now, like, they have to be nice on the internet. They have to keep in touch with their friends and family. Otherwise, they'll just get cancelled out. People just say, "Oh, you're an arsehole, bye." and you're no longer famous anymore.
And how old are these people? I don't even know these names. Recognize?
I
Are
don't
they
think-
still quite young? Like
I don't think-
they might still hit that period where they go a bit crazy. And
I don't think the
mid-20s.
D'Amelio twins are 18. Either one of
Yeah,
them are
right,
18.
so they're still-
so young.
they're essentially
Addison
child
Rae's, I
stars.
think, like 20.
Yeah.
They're very established personalities now, and they seem to be nice people.
But
I feel like if they weren't, they would have been called out for it.
You reckon? Or you think it's just... I mean, I'm not saying they're the last people. I don't even know whose people are, but like, are they not going to have that period where it's like, all right,
They're crazy off the rails.
Go through the same kind of thing?
Well, Pete, all the stars when you were growing up, they sort of went off the rails, and
Yeah, it's not a new problem. Not a new problem at all, because they live their lives or grow up, in the case of the kids, in a completely different reality to the rest of us. And it's just like it's really hard to teach a left-handed golfer. It's really hard to mentor somebody who's in a situation that's completely different to your own.
Yeah.
You know, so they haven't got good people necessarily teaching them, looking after them. It's interesting that you talk about the Sony sort of situation and record labels or sports star managers running people's lives in the old days, and now they sort of
They're
more
doing it
out there.
themselves, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they are. I think the same people exist, but they can't hide in the shadows the way that they used to. You know?
True.
They're still going to have a Twitter account, and they're going to. I'm not really up with it all too
you
much.
mean like the mentor has that sort of reach, or the star?
No, the star has that sort of reach and that sort of exposure more so than their reach. Their reach to me doesn't matter. Their celebrity itself is going to create the reach, but them managing their own fame whilst being critiqued on social media is a vastly different situation to somebody like a sports star from the 50s or 60s who never saw the light of day. You know, they were kept in, and music stars too. Their record labels bottled them up. No one ever got to see them except when they pushed them out on stage.
Went on tour.
Now they're exposed all the time. And you'd have to think that they're adapting and that there probably are better people now because they've had the opportunity to become those better people. All of us know a lot more these days about what you're supposed to do
so
to
much
be
information.
considered a better person now, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past it hasn't really been.
I don't know if you know what's going on, but there's a thing called cancel culture. Have you heard of that?
Not at all.
It's pretty much where if someone does something wrong, they get cancelled, which is
they're no longer the bee's knees, and
they're
just
no
cut away.
longer looked on in a high regard. There's a lot of talk is like some of it valid or
Was it just made up pressure?
is it just all this bottled up pressure on social media that cancels this person when hang on, he only just like dropped a chip packet and kept walking. Like this is a made up scenario, but is that worth cancelling someone? But there's also the accountability.
Sounds like people taking the opportunity to be judgmental. To me.
They are.
And people, when they're jealous of things like fame and fortune, they do tend to get really judgmental really quickly. I notice it all the time. I see, even though I didn't enjoy the Oprah interview with Meghan Markle, I still thought the way they tore her down early in the piece was completely inappropriate. I just think that everybody wants to tear these people down and give them a hard time and make their lives harder than they already are. And this, what you described as cancel culture, it's the same
Bring
sort of
people
thing
down.
to me. Like judge people, want to judge people. I'm not rich and famous, so I haven't
People
done
who
anything
aren't playing the
special, but I
game.
can look at this person and judge them.
Yeah.
And make comment because I've got a Twitter account and I can say this person is this and this person is that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come back the other way because I'm nothing.
There's
So
a
I
lot of
think
examples
that's
of
really
false
poor.
allegations as well.
Yeah, it's poor.
Which is sad.
Yeah.
And then there's also the ones where they come after tweets from like 10, 15 years ago before they're even famous. And
Yeah.
then they're gone for that. Like Kevin Hart had a situation like that. He was still like famous at the time, but wasn't as big.
I think it was
They came at it for
2008 or 2005. He tweeted about his son playing with a dollhouse and how, I don't know the tweet, but he didn't want his son to be gay. I think that's what it was like.
along those lines, yeah.
And this, I mean, I think it resurfaced like 10 years later, 11 years later, like 2019. I'm not the same person I was last year.
No.
I don't think you can be judged.
Yeah.
If people heard the things I used to say hanging around with my mates in the 80s,
Yeah.
they they would cancel me
Yeah.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Their attitudes were different back then,
Yes.
and we were silly kids, you know.
Actu-
I think people are too judgmental.